4.
Do you have a gardening problem? We can help you with that. A program dedicated to help you grow a better garden, maintain your landscape, grow healthier trees, make that grass look a little bit greener, as well as preserving what you grow. We're here to help you with your gardening problem. You're tuned in to Garden Talk Radio.
You are listening to the most informational-packed hour of garden-focused radio in the country and on the internet with your host, husband and wife team Joey and Holly Baird. This is the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show.
Welcome again to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is presented to you by Power Planter Earth Augers, the official digging tool. To find the right size for your digging projects, visit powerplanter.com. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join us to talk gardening for the next hour, whether you're listening to us on one of the 16 stations across the country that's airing our program in 2020, through our website. That website is the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com. Underneath the Radio Season 4 tab at the top of the page, there are also our Season 1, 2, and 3 tabs up there that you can catch up on previous seasons of the program. I am your host, Joy Baird. Beside me is my wife, co-host, best friend, and gardening partner,
Holly Baird.
This program is for you, about you, to help your garden grow better, to maintain your landscape, to make your trees look greener and your grass to grow better. There's a number of ways in which you can contact us. We're going to give you the two most popular and easiest ways to get a hold of us. One is you can email us, gardentalkradio@gmail.com. gardentalkradio@gmail.com, whether you're listening right now live on the program, on your radio, the social media app, whatever the case is, or post on podcast replay or in-studio video replay. We certainly appreciate you listening. We like to hear from you. Even if you don't have a question, just let us know where you're listening from and how you're capturing the program. You can also give us a call if you want to talk to us. You can jam your fingers on the phone and give us a call at 1-800-927-SHOW. During the show, if we can't get to you or you got a question post-show, give us a call. Our lines are open 24/7. We will get back to you with the answer to your garden question. That's 1-800-927-SHOW. We're going to get into segment 1 of the program today. It's about saving seeds to save you money. Segment 2 is the right way to store your produce. Segment 3 is our guest. She is author Alea Milham will be with us, as well as answering your garden questions. So, Holly, let's get in the program here, and let's talk about saving seeds to save you money. Now, we are in the early to mid portions of July. Why would we want to save seeds now, or prepare to save seeds now when, one, why would we want to do it when we can just go to Seed Savers Exchange or go to your local independent garden center or whatever, get the El Cheapo seeds? Why would we want to save our own seeds?
Well, one benefit to saving your own seeds is even if they are the El Cheapo seeds, you are getting a better quality seed and you're going to save money. So when you grow that seed, you're growing it in what seed it is. You're growing it in your little ecosystem in your backyard or front yard or whatever. And that seed has likeliness to be more acclimated to your ecosystem that you're saving.
Right. You know everything about that seed. Like, if you raise your kid, you kind of know what's going on. Kind of the same thing with the seeds. Not sort of, but kind of, maybe. But you want to save your seeds, and we want to start saving them now, or at least preparing to save our seeds now, because it's not just plant the seed, grow the plant, and then sometime in August, September, hey, we're going to save some seeds. There's some preparation and some knowledge that goes into this. We're going to go over some plants, some vegetables, and some fruits that, you can save seeds, no problem at all. There's other ones that are a little more difficult, and there's some that we would advise you not even to try to save because of a variety of different situations that will not be positive for the seed in which you're going to grow from that selection that you save from. So I guess we should get into, not all seeds are able to be saved the first year. If you have leeks or onions or beets or Swiss chard or carrots, and there's some other ones that are biennial. Biennial means?
Biannual means that it seeds the second year of growth.
You have to leave it in the ground in order for that to happen. So you're sacrificing that harvest this year, letting it overwinter, and then allowing it to grow again. And then that's when the seed production occurs. We've got some leeks that we are doing that with. It was just kind of the way it worked out. We didn't particularly designate those leeks to be saved for that type of situation. Parsnips are another one. Kale is another one. Broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, those type of things. Kale, all will seed that second year. But again, you may not want to sacrifice that harvest this year or that plant this year and let it overwinter and take up space. So that may not be the best selection of seeds for you to save seeds from. Now, we can save one of the most popular plants that people will grow in their garden, which is?
Tomatoes.
And yeah, go ahead.
You can save those. Now, the other thing is that sometimes you have to kind of do a little preparation or planning or whatever to save seeds. For example, tomato seeds, they have that gelatinous slime, whatever you want to call it, on the seed.
The seed, yeah, that slime seed coat.
Yeah, the seed
It's a protective, yeah.
Yeah. So you have to plan for that. And some people, they will just try to rinse it off, but that's not so easy always. So what you can do is you can put it in a mason jar with a little bit of water. And after a couple of days, it's gonna ferment a little bit. Not too bad.
It does mean that will smell slightly.
It will have a slight smell to it, but you don't want to let that happen for more than a couple days. And once that's done, then you can take and rinse those seeds off, and then let them dry. But make sure that you label.
Oh, I'll remember.
Yeah, you can put them on a paper plate or ceramic plate, whatever.
And you got 7 plates of mystery tomato seeds.
Right, and you obviously want to make sure that when you let them dry, you're keeping them safe away from breezes or cats or dogs or iguanas, whatever.
Once they're dry, then you can slide them into a paper envelope and label them. Now, you do not necessarily have to worry tremendously about the cross-pollination on tomato plants. There may be the small percentage, like 10% of a chance that they could cross-pollinate, but most likely they will not. And if they cross-pollinate, you've got a new species that's a tomato that may be much better than what you had. Another easy one is beans. Let the plant go to maturity. Let the beans dry on the pod, on the plant. Boom, you got bean seeds. Pretty easy. You don't have to worry about those cross-pollinating. Lettuce, radishes, you let those go to seed, flower. When we say bolt, if you've got lettuce or radishes in your garden right now, that is what's occurring. The radishes, benefit on the radishes, you can eat those green pods if you allow them to dry to a dry cardboard styrofoam consistency. When you pop them open, there's going to be about half dozen seeds in those, and those can be saved for the next year. Or if you just allow the plant to do what it does, those will fall on the ground, and we had a good selection of them that naturally seeded in the front yard garden from last year, and we've got these big shrubs of radish plants that are going to seed. So we've got plenty of radish seeds, so we just kind of let those go to the natural progression there. Peppers, very easy to save seeds on.
Yeah, peppers are easy. I'm sure, even if you've never saved a pepper seed before, you can see what occurs when you cut open a pepper, that the seeds are just right there doing their thing.
Still label.
But you want to make sure you label. You do want them to dry out a little bit, but you want to label them, especially if you grow hot peppers and sweet peppers, because you cannot tell the difference, and all of a sudden you're slicing up a hot pepper and you put it on your pizza and your mouth is on fire.
Or you touch your eye.
So if you do grow extremely hot peppers and you're saving the seeds and you're handling them, you might want to wear some sort of gloves or something.
Corn is an easy one to save. Now, this is if you know that has not been cross-pollinated. It's an heirloom variety, and it's not been cross-pollinated with another heirloom or hybrid, or even worse, a genetically modified corn that has been drifted in, that can drift for quite some distance. Those are easy to save. Let's see, what was it, 2 years ago, I guess it was? We had grew a couple and we saved one for seed. We had a couple for seed, and it was a white-eared corn, but there was one orange kernel in that whole ear. So there was a cross in there somewhere. Another one is squash. If you have multiple varieties of squash, pumpkin and zucchini and Hubbard and all these other types, It will not affect the production of the plant this year. If you plant a Hubbard next to 8 other varieties of squash, you're going to get a Hubbard. Now, if you save that Hubbard seeds, you may get some type of morph of a zucchini and a pumpkin and a Hubbard and a dumpling because of the cross-pollination. This holds true to cucumbers as well. If you have one variety and only one variety and you save the seeds from that variety, you're fine. If you have more than one variety, forget it. Go ahead and buy new seeds because they will cross-pollinate. And if you are saving the seeds from that one particular variety and you only have one, let it go yellow. Let it get as big as possible. Let it go to yellow. It's going to be bitter. It's not going to be edible, but that's the sign of the maturity of the seeds. We see a lot of pictures on social media right now. Why is my cucumber yellow? And it's very large. It's yellow because you've waited too long to harvest, and it's not going to be that edible. It's going to be very, very bitter. Whether you're growing a pickling cucumber, a market more, a lemon cucumber, a white cucumber, whatever the case is, you want to harvest it at a smaller size so the plant continues to produce when it comes to multiple harvest of that type of plant.
Right. And then there's also things like watermelon. And if you grow that watermelon, you want to make sure that it is something that you can save the seed on. So most of them you can, but you can't just take like a watermelon from the store and grow that from seed.
Yeah, there's some challenges, especially the seedless watermelon. Even though there's a seed in it, it's a whole different type of production there. But watermelon, they can cross, so you kind of want to make sure you've got one variety if you are fortunate enough in an area in which either you grow like a Saskatchewan watermelon, which is a softball size, a little bit bigger, that's more compatible to the northern climates, or you're growing the big 60, 80-pound watermelons down in Mississippi, Texas, that type of region. Make sure that you are saving the seeds and they're not crossing with other species. Now, another one is potatoes, Holly.
Yeah, potatoes you can save for seed potatoes, but you want to make sure they're the right variety, and you want to make sure you know what variety they are. So ones you grow, yes, you can save for seed potatoes. However, if you don't know if it's what's it called? Not a long day.
Short season, mid-season, or long season.
Then you want to make sure that you know that before you save them.
Now, people are like saving potatoes. There are ways in which you can save the potatoes in which you harvest this fall or this midsummer to hold them over until next spring at the time of planting. However, that may not be for everybody, so we would recommend just going to Wood Prairie Farms, our family-owned and operated specialty potato farm in Bridgewater, Maine. That's where we get all of our potatoes from, and just buy them there early on and just not have to worry about that. And there's many, many other different types of plants in which you can save seeds from, like yacons, you save the rhizomes from, and you replant those next spring. There's not a seed necessarily. Garlic, we'll close with garlic here because we are getting close to the garlic planting season. If you do have garlic that you have grown, you can certainly save the largest bulbs, which should contain the largest cloves.
And that's smart to do because then it's going to give you better success for growing. So if you've harvested your garlic, once you cure it, before you start using it for cooking or whatever you're going to use it for, you want to make sure you do pull out the largest bulbs, as Joey stated, so you get the largest cloves for planting. And you can kind of assume there's, 4 to 6, whatever.
4 to 15 based on your variety. Mm-hmm. And if you do not have seed or garlic seed or garlic clove, you can save the seeds. They take 24 months to grow. That's why we recommend growing the cloves, which takes 9 months. Here in the upper portions of the Midwest, we plant the first Saturday in October each year, and we harvest it around late June, early July. Now, if you don't have garlic, like I said, you can always go to Big Elk Garlic Farm, bigelkgarlicfarm.com. They are the garlic provider for us. They're out of Pennsylvania. It's a family-owned and operated farm up there. Got a good selection of garlic and very good quality garlic as well. It's bigelkgarlic.com on that.
Well, thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to our show. This is our 20th show of 2020. Did you miss last week's show? We talk about ways to keep your grass green during the summer and 5 plants to put on your property for security. Our guests were co-authors Isa Eaton and Jennifer Kramer. You can listen to that show by going to your favorite podcast platform and searching the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener podcast, or you can just email us at gardentalkradio@gmail.com and on the subject line put show 19 and we will send you that link. We'll be right back. Do not go anywhere. We'll be talking about storing your produce the right way. You were listening to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show, a program to help you grow a better garden, maintain your landscape, help your trees grow better, make that grass look greener, and preserving what you grow for indoor and out.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
Do your trees look sad? When we here at the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardens have a tree or shrub issue, Dr. Jim's is the product we reach for, as it is the product that works. It really provides results. Their small batch, extra potent blend of readily available nutrients is exactly what your trees, plants, and bushes need to regain their health and stay bug-free. It's super easy to use, it feeds the microbes and adds new life to your soil so you can grow stronger plants. Chemical-free, environmentally responsible fertilizer that works. It will put a smile on your face and your plants. To find out more about Tree Secret and other products, visit drjims.com. That's drjimz.com.
Pomona's Universal Pectin is a high-quality pectin that gels reliably with low amounts of any sweetener. If you're trying to reduce the amount of sugar in your diet, you'll love Pomona's Universal Pectin. Now you can make healthy homemade jams and jellies sweetened to your taste. You can use sugar or honey to sweeten. Pomona's Universal Pectin keeps indefinitely when stored in an airtight container. Easy to use, versatile, and comes with directions and recipes in every box. Find out more and where to buy at PomonaPectin.com. Also available at natural food stores and online.
Do not go anywhere. There is more of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show to come, which is presented to you by Power Planter Earth Augers, the official digging tool. To find the right size for your digging project, visit powerplanter.com.
For all your indoor growing needs, equipment, and supplies, it's WeGrowIndoors.com. Deer Defeat is an all-natural repellent to keep deer, rabbits, and groundhogs away from your precious plants. Deer Defeat protects your plants day and night, dries clear, and odorless. It will not clog your sprayer. Deer Defeat works for 30 days through rain, snow, and freeze. Safe, effective, and works on rabbits. Money-back guarantee. To purchase, go to deerdefeat.com and use code RADIO to save 10% on your order. Deer Defeat. It can't be beat. Brought to you by Blue Ribbon Organics, providing locally made organic compost and soil blends for gardens, farms, landscaping, and more. Visit BlueRibbonOrganics.com or call 262-497-8539 to find their products nearest you. Responsible watering, accurate, fast, and efficient. Earth conscious. Visit waterhoop.com.
Bluemel's Garden and Landscape Center offers an awesome selection of high-quality garden and landscape products. We have just the plants you're looking for: annuals, perennials, veggies, herbs, and more. Plus, you can always count on us to answer all of your questions and offer expert advice. Bluemel's also carries the largest selection of bulk landscape materials in the area. Enjoy a beverage from our coffee shop while your kids run around in our huge playground. Join our growing list of highly satisfied customers. Visit the garden center that offers everything you're looking for. Visit Bluemel's today.
Bluemel's, 4930 West Loomis Road, 414-282-4220. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show is brought to you by the following: Phylum Bioproducts, Dr. Jim's, Nasala Kabucha, MI Greenhouse LLC, Green Gobbler, Waterhoop, Seed Savers Exchange. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show, which is presented to you by Power Planter Earth Augers, the official digging tool. To find the right size for your digging project, visit powerplanter.com. Now here are your hosts, Joey and Holly Baird.
Well, you planted your produce, your garden. You've let it grow. Now you're harvesting it. but you got to store the produce correctly in order to get the most out of it. I mean, you can plant it and grow it. That's 2/3 of it. You add another third, which is the storage or the preserving aspect of it. And you need to do it right. Otherwise, it's kind of not even worth the effort if you're not going to do it. It's kind of like learning how to, in golf, drive and chip, but you can't putt at all. Now, there's probably people listening that go, that's me, but okay. First of all, let's talk about, number one, when we bring the stuff in out of the garden, whatever it is, we need to keep it cool. We don't need it to bake in the house or in the garage or in the shed or wherever the case is.
And for some of us, that might just be in our kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, there are some things that you grow that will need to cure. Now, Holly, what is curing, and what are some of the crops in which one would need to cure?
Sure. So curing is basically holding a produce in a specific climate condition or condition. So whether it be like temperature controlled, dry, something like that, a dry area away from direct sunlight, so that it allows it to essentially cure. So it's going to dry out a little bit.
But it thickens the skin of the item.
Yep. It thickens the skin, maybe dries out a little bit in a good way. And during this time, the outer skin does thicken and harden. And the most common one you're going to find is garlic. People cure their garlic. So there's a difference between fresh garlic.
Green garlic, yeah.
Green. Well, some people call the scapes green garlic,
okay.
So I don't know. But so like the super fresh garlic versus the cured garlic. Is there a difference in flavor or taste? Not really. There's a difference in between homegrown garlic taste and store-bought. But with that being said, curing is just a process of allowing that vegetable, which is typically a root crop, to kind of do its thing, dry a little bit, get a thicker skin, so it stores a little bit better.
If you do not do it, they will have a little shorter shelf life. And you talked about garlic. Onions are another one. Potatoes, sweet potatoes, and the regular potatoes that we grow. And then also winter squash. It's pretty important to cure that. That way it can sustain over the winter. We've had winter squash keep for nearly 14 months, though when you cut it open, it was considerably drier, obviously, internally, but it didn't go bad because we kept it in a relatively good condition environment. Now, there are ideal temperatures in which you should store these items. Now, we all do not live in a Goldilocks environment where everything's perfect and the temperatures are ideal. What are some of these conditions that would be favorable if we had the control over it?
So it would be between 50 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So right in that nice sweet spot. And also a dark area and dry. So that way it allows produce to store for a longer time. And typically if you had a root pantry or a root cellar, you would have those conditions. Right. It would be dry.
Low humidity.
Low humidity. Yeah. And it would be ideal for storing long term. But not everybody has that. So your refrigerator is set 34 to 50 degrees.
34.
34 to 40 degrees. So if you're concerned, you can get a fridge thermometer.
Like they cost like $1, and you can control more. Obviously, many people who live in apartments or condos or whatever the case is, their refrigerator is essentially the modern root cellar. And that's how they store items to a certain degree.
You could get creative, and
not everything has to go in the refrigerator. That's the other thing that we'll get into.
Right, but you could get creative, and if you have the room, you could always get a second refrigerator, like a smaller refrigerator, like a dorm, whatever refrigerator. That's always an option. But that's if you have the room. So there's a few things that to keep in mind. For example, like root vegetables, whether it be carrots, beets, turnips,
any root,
rutabaga,
any one of them.
Yeah, when you harvest those, you want to cut the tops off, but then you want to leave the dirt on them, the soil on them.
Creates a film.
It creates like a film, like a barrier, what have you.
Now, disclaimer here: if you harvest radishes and you leave the dirt on them and you bring them in and put them on your counter, I don't know about anybody else, but by the time we bring them in, put them on the counter, turn around twice, they've shriveled up about half their size. So what we have found is you bring them in, cut the tops off, throw them in a zip top bag, and that holds that moisture in, because they'll shrivel up to nothing in 24 hours, and you've worked all this effort for a radish that now you can't even see because it's dried up to nothing. So maybe that's just us. I don't know. We certainly would like to hear if it's just, if you have had that occurred too at gardentalkradio@gmail.com. But yeah, keep that dirt on the potatoes, the carrots, the parsnips, all of those items. And with radishes, like we talked about, we find that you can put a lot of these things in an airtight bag, put in the fridge, Jerusalem artichokes, or sunchokes, yacons, that type of thing, in the fridge, and in an airtight bag. You don't have to make them breathe or allow air in. They'll keep for quite some time. Carrots will keep. What do we have? Carrots in the fridge, that one fridge for almost a year. We kind of forgot about them, and they were growing roots in the zip top bag, but they were perfectly fine. We peeled the roots off, and there was nothing wrong with them, but they kept for a very long time. What about herbs and head lettuce? What's some tips in order to prolong the harvest or store them better?
So yeah, for leafy greens, you can rinse them very well, wash them very well, and then wrap them loosely, like in a flour sack type of rag, whatever. And then you do want to store them in the fridge crisper at low humidity.
If you don't have one of those flour sacks, damp paper towel inside of a zip top bag, but crack the zip top bag so it's not completely airtight.
You don't want to do a damp paper towel.
Well,
you can just do a paper towel.
Paper towel, okay,
with
yeah.
a Ziploc bag.
Yeah.
But you can, with herbs, you can do that as well. Typically, like when I buy fresh herbs or cut fresh herbs, I'll put them in a mason jar with water.
Right, and you can do that with like little head lettuce, butterhead lettuce. For a short term, I mean, lettuce and herbs, your shelf life is minimal if you're not going to use them right away, or herbs if you're not going to dry them right away. It's pretty short shelf life, maybe a week or so. I guess would be a good estimate of time.
But then you would want to dry them.
Well, the herbs,
not
the lettuce.
Not the lettuce.
Yeah. Unless you're going to put the lettuce in like a soup. We had lettuce soup once. That was not good.
That was sad soup.
Yeah, that was.
That was one of your experiments.
Yeah, it was a recipe. It just wasn't a good one for us.
I don't think for anybody.
Well, maybe some people love lettuce soup. If you have Brussels sprouts, you're growing them this year, you're going to harvest them in the fall. Remove the leaves and leave the sprouts all intact on the stalk, and they will keep much longer. And you can lay them in the refrigerator. If you have a root cellar, that type of thing, you don't want to pop them off because they will dry out quicker.
Right.
Let's talk about tomatoes. What do we do with tomatoes? I see people put them in the refrigerator, and that's a no-no.
Okay, so tomatoes, you want to prevent them from ripening too quickly, and a lot of times we will often ripen ours off the vine, and there's nothing wrong with that. They'll be just as good, just as tasty, whatever. Taste just as fresh. But this way, if we pull them off the vine when they're starting to turn color on the bottom, then we know that we don't have to worry about anything getting to them.
And when we say that, it's about 48 hours. If we would have left them on the vine about another 48 hours, they would have been completely ripe. Mm-hmm. That's what we're talking about early off the vine.
Right. Not like weeks or anything. But, so tomatoes are best stored in a pantry, but you want to prevent them. If you want to have them not ripen too quickly, you want to keep them away from high ethylene emitting foods. And that is typically like bananas, and I think avocados are high ethylene emitting foods. But that also works in reverse. So if you have green tomatoes and you want them to ripen faster, you would put them with the high ethylene emitting food, or you can put them like on a windowsill.
Yeah, never put them in the fridge because it changes, the sugar to a starch, and it makes it just ucky. Right. And the same thing with potatoes. You don't put potatoes in a refrigerator either because it changes them.
It does change I think it's like the starch.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's another one. And then,
well, here's the thing you want to keep in mind with anything you harvest. Was it in a refrigerator outside? Probably not. So you could probably, if your house is 72, 75 degrees, you could leave it on the counter because that is kind of a if it's 85 outside and humid, you can bring it inside and and 72 in low humid, it's going to be fine for a number of days. You don't have to freeze these things in the refrigerator or the freezer right away. Cucumbers, anything below 50 degrees will cause them to spoil faster. So again, just leave them on your counter. If you're going to use them for pickling, Holly, what's the couple of the main tips here when pickling cucumbers?
Yeah, you would want to use them as soon as possible for pickling because that'll help those pickles become more crisp or stay more crisp through the pickling process. So if you say you like grow X amount of pickling cucumbers, but you want more, you want to make more pickles and you're going to go to the farmer's market, you want to try to harvest the same day as you're going to can or go to the farmer's market the same day or so.
It's Monday. I got a few. I'm going to wait until Friday. You can do that, but you lose a lot of the pop.
They're gonna get mushy.
And here's another thing. If you're trying to make pickled cucumbers and you only have more salad slicing cucumbers, it ain't going to work.
No, you want to use the pickling cucumbers. You can use slicing cucumbers, but
it ain't the greatest.
They get mushy in that process. So pickling cucumbers are where it's at.
It's a different structure that the nature has provided, and it says pickling. That's how you know which is best for you and your pickling. So another one here, bananas. Now, many of you, I know we have downloads in Texas, South Texas, and Mexico, and the tip of Florida, and over in Hawaii. Hello, Hawaii, those of you who are listening. Bananas. You want to prolong, and everybody buys bananas. To prolong the bananas, you want to pull them apart and get them away from, don't let them bunch together. And then on the tip of the top there, you want to wrap it with a plastic wrap, and this will reduce the emission of that ethylene gas that you were talking about to ripen tomatoes. It emits that ethylene gas, and the bananas will ripen more slowly. So they don't turn black at one time. Now, however, black bananas, people are like, ugh. Yellow bananas. Black bananas are actually a ripe banana. It's like in the vegetable.
You know what's funny is in other countries where bananas are more native to their country, they don't eat those bananas until they turn brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't eat the yellow banana. No, they eat the brown banana.
Well, in the vegetable world, everybody harvests peppers when they're green. That's an unripened pepper. You wait until they're red, yellow, and orange. Same thing with a banana. Green bananas, unripe. Yellow bananas, still unripe. When you get that brown and black, that's where you get, that's where it's considered more ripe. But yeah, you take them apart, wrap cellophane or plastic around the top portion that was connected, the bundle together, and that will slowly make them ripen slower. And you can refrigerate them. If you keep them cold, it will ripen them. It will continue to ripen, but slower as well. So, just some things to keep in mind about storing your produce and how to do it, and how to get the most out of the produce in which you have been growing, or you got at the farmer's market, or in the instance of bananas, you probably bought at the supermarket. Well, Holly, the weather's hot. It's burning up in a lot of places. We know this. We see this. And your garden has new visitors in it. They've got the beetles. We've got the weevils. We've got the borers. And many people have got the Japanese beetles that have returned unwelcomed.
And what better way to prevent these pests from destroying your garden than by controlling them while they are larvae? Grub Gone is an easy-to-apply granular product that can be spread on your turf to successfully control grub invaders. Developed by Phylum Bioproducts from a naturally occurring bacteria, Grub Gone is a non-chemical BT product that specifically targets only certain scarab pests, and it is safe to use around bees and other beneficial insects.
Yes, if you've already got the flying beetles and Japanese beetles around in your yard, here's what you do. You get some Beetle Gone from Phylum Bioproducts. It is an organic, water dispersible powder that, here we go, you can spray directly on your edible plants. To find out more on how to purchase and how to apply, go to PhylumBioproducts.com. That's PHYLLOM bioproducts.com. You will be amazed of how successful the product works. Well, do not go anywhere. Author, blogger, Alea Milham will be with us. You're listening to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show, a program dedicated to help you grow a better garden.
You can bet the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardeners phone lines are always jammed during the show. So Joey and Holly keep their phone lines open 24/7 to help you. Call anytime, 24/7. Just dial 1-800 1-800-927-7469. Or just remember, 1-800-927-SHOW, SHOW. Leave a message and they will call you back.
Planting conditions are always favorable with the Power Planter Earth Auger. No matter what the job is, Power Planter has the right size for you. Simply attach to a drill and let the Power Planter do the work for you, creating holes fast and efficiently with ease. Find the size that fits your project at powerplanter.com. The number one key to healthy, productive plants are the roots. Starting from seed to full-grown plants, rootmaker.com has the answer. From seed starting trays with an innovative design that air prunes the roots, creating a fabulous root system, never again will you have root-bound plants. To multiple gallon grow bag sizes to raised beds, rootmaker.com has your grow needs covered. Visit rootmaker.com. Use coupon code TWVG at checkout and get 10% off your entire order.
Protect your plants against damage with a 3-in-1 plant guard and special blend fertilizer. Visit ivorganics.com.
Do not go anywhere. There is more of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show to come, which is presented to you by Power Planter Earth Augers, the official digging tool. To find the right size for your digging project, visit powerplanter.com.
Trim Bin turns any chair into a workstation. Comfortably sort your herbs, dried flowers, cannabis, and more. Easily collect pollen with the static brush and mirror finish collection tray. High walls keep your work contained. To get yours, visit harvest-more.com. Made in California.
Tired of breaking your back while pulling weeds? Worrying about spraying chemicals around plants you want to keep? CHAPIN has the solution with the Weed Devil. The CHAPIN Weed Devil is a compact, lightweight, long-handled weed-killing machine. Powered with a rechargeable battery, you can start spraying with the touch of a button. Just choose your favorite herbicide, fill the tank, and spot spray as needed. To order the CHAPIN Weed Devil, visit www.chapinmfg.com. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is brought to you by the following: Neptune Harvest, Happy Leaf LED, Dripworks, We Grow Indoors, Deer Defeat, Harvest More, Blue Ribbon Organics, Bluemel's Landscape and Garden Center, Chip Drop. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support. Bluemel's Landscape and Garden Center selected by the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel as the top landscaper in 2020. That means that they do the landscaping that you want them to do on your property. They will follow your guidelines. They'll follow your plan. They'll suggest some things along the way, but they want you to be happy. When they walk away from a project, they want you to be happy with the results in which they have given to you for your property and your backyard, whatever the case is. They can also provide you bulk material. They have that available, 40 items, most selection anywhere in the area, as well as plants and a knowledgeable staff. Bluemel's Landscape and Garden Center at 4930 West Loomis Road, just off of Layton and Greenfield. You can give them a call at 414-282-4220 and check them out at bluemels.com.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show, which is presented to you by Power Planter Earth Augers, the official digging tool. To find the right size for your digging project, visit powerplanter.com. Now here are your hosts, Joey and Holly Baird.
Welcome back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show. Thank you for hanging around. Holly, let's go to the hotline and bring in our guest for this week.
Alea is an author, blogger, fellow gardener, and the founder of premeditatedleftovers.com. She's passionate about being frugal in some areas so people can splurge in others, and she encourages people to eat well but spend less. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Well, we thank you for taking time out of your day, not only to educate Holly and myself, but all of our listeners across the country, and we thank you for that. Well, where did the ideal for your website come from? Everybody's got a little story, a backstory on websites and their names. How did yours come about?
Well, the idea for my website actually came about while I was teaching a budgeting for baby class at Navy Marine Corps Relief Society. I was a budget counselor, and it's a nonprofit that helps sailors and Marines with finances. And one of the things I would teach them is that the area of the budget that they have the greatest control over is food. We can't negotiate our house payment or our rent, can't negotiate car payments, but we can work with sales and coupons and how we process food and what we buy to control our grocery budget and save money in that area. And one of the things I had the most pushback on was on eating leftovers. And so I started questioning the sailors what their objection was to leftovers, and one of the things I realized is they didn't know how to cook from scratch. So processed foods often don't taste good as leftovers. And so I realized that what I needed to do if I wanted to make a difference and try to make leftovers cool, and something that frugal people did, not something that poor people did, and make it standardized, was to teach how to cook from scratch, because everybody knows, grandma's spaghetti sauce tastes better the next day, right? But processed food, not as much. So that's where the idea originally came from.
Now, was you shocked at finding that the sailors didn't know how to cook from scratch, or was that kind of, once you figured it out, was that kind of a shock to you?
It was, actually, because both my mother and my father cooked and taught me how to cook as a child. So it really was a surprise for me. Now, I'm also older. I'm in my 50s, and I hadn't realized the effect of how much easier it is now to buy processed foods and how that was a skill that wasn't being passed down to our younger generation.
Well, yeah, and we see that we're in a society of drive-thrus and quick microwave meals. The whole getting together and actually knowing where the flour and the sugar and the yeast and make that type of thing, it's not getting passed down, like you said, as frequently as maybe it should.
Right.
Okay. Yep. So your book is called Prep Ahead: Meals from Scratch, and what is the book about? And also, what is a notable tip or just something that maybe you've heard your readers enjoy?
So one of the things, because we are in this fast food generation and this quick microwave meal generation, I realized that if I wanted people to cook from scratch, I needed to make it easy for them. And so in each chapter at the beginning, I teach multiple ways to pre-cook or batch cook proteins from scratch. So chicken, pork, beef, rice, beans. Teach them how multiple different ways. That way people can use whatever cooking tools they have available, because not everybody has a slow cooker or an Instant Pot. Some people have an oven but not a broiler. So that's why there's the multiple ways. And then after that, in each chapter, there's 20 recipes showing how to use this pre-cooked protein in recipes that they can use throughout the week. Now, one of the most notable tips that I've found that people have found surprising is that you can, while you're making dinner on Sunday night, you can do your batch cooking for most of the week. So if you're making a roast for dinner on Sunday night, at the same time you can make a triple batch of rice, you can have chicken in the slow cooker, beans in the Instant Pot, or you can have all 4 burners covered making food for the week. And that way, throughout the week, all you have to do is take these pre-cooked proteins, combine them with fresh vegetables, and then quickly and easily have dinner on the table.
Well, I mean, for those of us who are new to meal planning, what are some good tips that you can offer that is enthusiastic but also inspiring? Because some people will look at that and go, I don't know if I can plan for meals for all week. That seems a little daunting for me and my family.
Yes. Well, one of the things that I suggest is to sit down as a family and ask everybody what their favorites are. I've even been surprised, and I update this as my kids get older, because the kid who wouldn't eat one vegetable when he was young changes, once he becomes a teenager and will eat everything in sight. So I sit down at least once a year and ask everybody, what are your favorite foods? If you can make a list of 14 meals, there you go. You have 2 weeks of meal planning. One of the things I also did when my kids were really little and they were more in the picky phase is I had planned nights. I mean, Taco Tuesday is a thing for a reason. So I knew tacos were being served on Tuesday. One week it was chicken. One week it was traditional hamburger. Another time it was pork. But I already basically knew what I was what I was preparing. Another thing we did is we did Spaghetti Western Wednesday. My grandma liked the old Bonanza and all those shows, so I would put on one of those shows and make spaghetti, and it was just a fun thing. And so if you know that, you can plan in advance. You can have those. You can have the refried beans for taco night. You can have the spaghetti sauce or the tomato sauce in the pantry to make those. So it's not only do I have to make a long, exhaustive grocery list, I have to make a meal plan and a grocery list. But if you have some things planned out, you can rely on that same meal plan and that same grocery list to simplify it for yourself.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. Now, Holly doesn't mind leftovers. I'm not a big fan of most leftovers, unless it's like, leftover ribs or pizza or something like that. What?
You like leftover chili.
Leftover chili. Yeah. But for people who are kind of like not in that leftover thing, how can we view this differently? Maybe from a financial standpoint and from a health standpoint.
Or just make them maybe a bit more appealing.
Make it look better. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually people will often tell me I don't like leftovers. And it's funny because the whole reason that I have the name premeditated leftovers is my daughter came up with that name to describe my cooking when she was really little because my oldest son did not like leftovers. In fact, when my grandma was staying with us, one night it was Taco Tuesday, and then for Wednesday at lunchtime I said, how about leftover tacos for lunch? And my son said, ugh, stale food. And I was horrified, because my grandma was visiting. And and she just started laughing. She thought it was so funny. But then she said to him, do you like taco salad? He goes, oh, I love taco salad. And she's like, Mom, how about instead of tacos, how about if you make taco salad? And it was almost the exact same ingredients, but it was prepared in a different way. And so he embrace that. And that is one of the things I do is now for my husband, he can eat the same leftovers day after day. So for his lunches, I will serve him leftovers. But I often take our leftovers and instead of viewing it as just what we're going to eat for leftovers for lunch the next day, I look at it as a base of a new recipe. So the teriyaki chicken becomes Asian chicken salad. Things like that. The taco meat becomes taco salad. So you can do things like that, or you can even throw them in to a soup. Or one of the things that my kids love are quesadillas. And you add tortillas and cheese. My husband and I live in the Southwest, and you can put anything between two tortillas as long as you spread enough cheese on it, and it becomes a whole new meal. Even barbecue chicken, my kids love it as quesadillas.
Well, and from taco to taco salad, many people, if not everybody, eats with their eyes first and then their mouth second. So if you can appease the eye, then the taste, you've kind of got over the hump at that point.
Yes. And now for the people who do like leftovers, one of the things I found is that if you just put your leftovers back in bowls in the fridge, they get shoved to the back and forgotten. And then after a couple days, everybody's like, I don't really want to eat that. But so one of the things I do is I pre-package at dinner time. If I'm making my husband's lunches, I might take it, whatever's left over, and serve it over rice as a rice bowl. Those are really popular right now, but I do it immediately into individual bowls. So all either he or I have to do is grab one of those pre-made bowls and put it in the lunch sack. And so we've made a plan for how it's going to be used so it doesn't end up in the back as a science project.
I think that definitely makes a lot of sense.
What was this?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Especially if you're having it for lunch the next day, prepping ahead, you don't have to think about it. You just grab and go. Yeah, for sure. Now, I know many people sometimes when they view like, okay, I'm going to make this protein for this week, certain things like chicken and even often sometimes pork, doesn't carry over well after a few days, and it has like, I don't know. For me, it has kind of a rubbery, weird taste. Do you have any suggestions for that, for preparing those proteins to make them a little bit more appealing by the time you get past like the third day?
Yeah, but first I want to tell you, sometimes if they're dry or they're rubbery, I recommend changing the cooking method. or maybe even the cut. One of the things that we do with pork and with chicken is we tend to get very fat-free. We try to get cuts that have as little fat as possible, and so we do end up with drier cuts. So I prefer chicken thighs over chicken breasts. They're moister, they keep better, they last all week, they're just great. And the same with pork. I buy a cut that has a little bit more fat on it than those little beautiful pork chops that they look pretty, they're all pink in the grocery store, but they just don't turn out as well and keep as well. But one of the things I do is another reason why they aren't as appealing later is because they're a little bit blander meats. But the blandness can be a gift to us because that blandness means they can take on the flavor of whatever we want to turn them into. So if you don't have a lot of seasoning on them, you can add honey mustard, dice it, add honey mustard, make a wrap, add it to a salad, or buffalo ranch, add that seasoning to it, dice it, add it, and then put it over a baked potato, over rice, over a salad. And one of the things, though, if you are cooking it, if you're adding it, with the salads, they can be served cold. But if you're going to cook it, one of the things you want to remember is to add it at the very last minute and then only cook it until it's heated through. Because we don't want to overcook that already pre-cooked chicken. And since it's already cooked to a safe temperature, all we have to do is cook it until it's warm enough to be palatable. But another thing I like to do is when I make chicken, I like to have flavors that I know can be used later. Like with teriyaki chicken, I mentioned it can go into an Asian chicken salad. You can take teriyaki chicken and then turn it into an Asian chicken and rice soup. If I have like a garlic and herb chicken, I might make a chicken and Parmesan bake with it. So if you kind of plan your flavors for the first meal, then you can plan how you're going to use it in future meals.
A lot of great information you've provided for us, Alea. Where can people find more about you? Where can they get your book at?
You can find me. My main blog is premeditatedleftovers.com. You can find me anywhere on social media as Alea Milham. And my book is available wherever books are sold. It's Amazon, Barnes & Noble. I think it's even available on the websites on Target and Walmart.com and places like that.
Definitely a book that would be very practical in the society and the situations that we're in now to maximize the food that we are preparing and try to get the most out of everything that we've grown and purchased.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. I've appreciated chatting with you.
Absolutely. And when we come back, it's your questions to the top of the hour. You're listening to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show, a program to help your garden grow better.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
Tree Ripe Citrus Company has top quality produce that comes right to your neighborhood with the freshest peaches and blueberries you'll find. To find locations, go to tree-ripe.com. Do not settle for the rest when you can have the best peaches and blueberries with Tree Ripe Citrus Company. Go to tree-ripe.com. World's coolest raingauge.com. Need I say more?
Looking to kill weeds without using dangerous chemicals like glyphosate? An all-natural weed killer may be just what you're looking for. Green Gobbler's Vinegar Weed Killer is a concentrated herbicide derived naturally from corn. It's 4 times stronger than regular table vinegar, so it packs a punch against all kinds of pesky weeds. Use Green Gobbler's Vinegar Weed Killer to safely kill dandelions, crabgrass, clover, ivy, and more. It's perfect for driveways, pavers, fence lines, and other outdoor surfaces. Green Gobbler Vinegar Weed Killer is an effective and powerful herbicide, but it doesn't stop there. It's also certified for organic use, so when used properly, it won't negatively affect soil or wildlife. Since Green Gobbler's Vinegar Weed Killer is pure vinegar with no other additives, pet owners can let their pets out to play right after application. Search for Green Gobbler Vinegar Weed Killer on Amazon.com today. We offer a hassle-free money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose.
Do not go anywhere. There is more of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show to come, which is presented to you by Power Planter Earth Augers, the official digging tool. To find the right size for your digging project, visit powerplanter.com.
Chip Drop is a website. You can sign up for free wood chip mulch delivery right to your door for free. Chip Drop connects homeowners and gardeners with tree services who are trying to get rid of their wood chips. You can also sign up to get free logs and firewood. Go to chipdrop.com to learn more and sign up for a free account. Responsible watering, accurate, fast, and efficient. Earth conscious. Visit waterhoop.com.
When it comes to bulk landscaping materials, Bluemel's Garden and Landscape Center is where everyone goes. Whatever the project, we have the materials you need with over 40 varieties to choose from. Soils, mulches, gravels, decorative stones, fresh cut sod. Bluemel's has these products in stock and ready for easy pickup or fast delivery. So what are you waiting for? Now is the time to get your yard back into shape. Stop in and pick these materials up or call us for delivery today. Nobody does bulk landscaping materials better than Bluemel's Garden and Landscape Center.
Bluemel's 4930 West Loomis Road, 414-282-4220.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show, which is presented to you by Power Planter Earth Augers, the official digging tool. To find the right size for your digging project, visit powerplanter.com. Now here are your hosts, Joey and Holly Baird.
Welcome back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show. Your questions to the top of the hour. We appreciate you being part of the program. If you've got a question, you can certainly submit it to us at gardentalkradio@gmail.com. You can give us a call at 1-800-927-SHOW, 1-800-927-SHOW. Again, you can send us an email anytime at gardentalkradio@gmail.com. First question here is about tomatoes. I've got tomatoes that have a white powdery substance on them. A couple of weeks ago, you talked about powdery mildew. Is that what I have? You did not mention anything in regards to tomatoes developing that problem.
So overly crowded tomatoes
what do we have here?
It's called leaf blemishing mildew.
Okay. So it is a mildew of some sort.
Right, and it's a powdery mildew fungus that will coat the tomato leaves and even the stems possibly as well. And so before this happens, you're going to get these yellow or pale green spots on the foliage, and then if it gets out of control, it will affect your plant.
Well, why is this occurring? What causes this?
It's because of overcrowding and excessively shaded or excessively fertilized plants. So that's always good to keep in mind is if you're going to fertilize, no matter what you're fertilizing, follow the directions. And apply correctly. But anyway, and you also want to space your plants apart properly as well. So sprinkling the plant's leaves with water is not the answer. What you want to do is you want to do something like this is a homemade remedy. Yeah. So you take 1 gallon of water and 1 tablespoon of each baking soda and non-detergent liquid soap, so something like just dish soap.
Right.
And then you can even do a light vegetable oil, and you spray that on the leaves. The soap or the vegetable oil will help adhere to the leaves. That's the important part. And then you just spray on the leaves when this first appears, and it's going to help break that down.
Yeah, anywhere you see the mildew, go ahead and spray that on there. But again, proper planting, proper fertilization, adequate sunlight makes the difference here. And we all make mistakes. Maybe you didn't do it quite right this year, but we're all learning together. We had a phone call come in this week. Let's see what that one was in regards to and how we can help.
And I got Creepin' Charlie coming in across the alley from me. So I'm thinking of spraying it with green gobbler vinegar, kill it, and then I want to bring in some topsoil and let the weeds grow till middle of August before I sow it with grass. But I have some rhubarb. It's already down there in somewhat of a low area. It's strawberry rhubarb. And is it fine to cover that 3-4 inches? Will it survive doing that, or I can wait till fall, really for that too when it's more dormant?
Okay, so yes, you can spray green gobbler horticultural weed killer, 20% vinegar on the creeping Charlie. Cover that up. That'll burn that, and then you can seed that in the fall. I would hold off on covering the rhubarb just because if, you don't want to smother it now. You want it to allow it to photosynthesize and get as much energy into the roots before it goes into dormancy. But then you could cover it 3 or 4 inches. You're not going to hurt it at all. What you're actually going to do is benefit the rhubarb by incorporating more nutrients around the plant, and that actually is going to be beneficial to the plant in the years to come. So you can certainly do that. Yeah, the green gobbler, that's a great weed killer. It's an organic, certified organic, OMRI listed there, to get rid of that creeping Charlie that many of us deal with on a regular basis. All right, here's a question for you, Holly. Can you use freshly harvested potatoes and plant them again for a second crop?
Yes, you can, but there should be no issue with this, as when you harvest the potatoes and then bring them indoors, they begin to sprout anyway, but you want to know how long they're going to grow for.
Right.
So if you're like where we are and you harvest them in August and they take 60 days to grow, they might not grow.
But if you have a 60-day or a 70-day or an 80-day variety and you plant them in, early in the spring, harvest them, flip them, and plant them again there, so that will certainly work. Last week we had a question about leaf curl on the tomatoes, and after doing more research, we felt it was inadequate watering or not enough watering, which was curling the leaves because it was reducing the surface area. That can be the case. However, there's a lot of tomato curl that is not associated with a disease or anything like that. It's just a temperature fluctuation. And if you see tomato curl on your plants and it relaxes and it curls, it's from what I have found in the different universities that I've looked at, it's not a big deal. A lot of people don't know why it occurs. It could be the fluctuation of moisture as well as the fluctuation of temperature, kind of what we touched on last week. But I did want to make that known there. Let's see here. Question 8, Holly, so you know where we're at on the list. To the listeners, that means nothing to them. First off, I want to thank you for producing the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show. I listen regularly via podcast while working in the garden. Well, thank you very much for that. As my vegetable plants are getting ready and finally yielding some produce, I'm noticing some issues which I hope you can help with diagnosing. First off, my pepper plants, there are a few of them with the leaves dropping off of them and completely dropped off. The pepper plants do not appear to be dead because I see more leaves forming in some of the rows where the leaves once were. Any advice on that? They're turning yellow and brown at the bottom and dropping off. Any ideas what may be causing this? Kathy asked.
Well, definitely if the pepper leaves are falling off, it's a sign of too much water or not enough water. And in both the cases, the plant will drop their leaves. Leaf drop can result from nitrogen heavy fertilizer. Again, feed your plants properly. Even adding fertilizer to the planting hole can burn the plant. So it could either be too much water, not enough water, or you over fertilize them.
Those are the easy answers. Those are the ones that we would initially go with. And if those do not supplement, if you're watering correctly and you didn't add a lot of fertilizer, then there's the next step of there's probably some kind of insect or disease entered. So we kind of go with the easier answers first, and that most of the time is the solution to the problem. But there are times where we have to dig a little deeper and get the more into that. Well, that will put us out of time for the program today. We greatly appreciate you taking time to listen to the show. If you missed any portion of this show or want to revisit it, you can do that. Yes, you can, by going to the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and clicking on the Radio Season 4 tab at the top of the page. Or we can make it easy for you by just you emailing us, gardentalkradio@gmail.com, and asking for this program, and we will send you the link. And you can also check out past shows on our website of podcast and in-studio video, as well as in-garden how-to garden videos. Tell your garden friends and your fellow neighbors that this program is on the air. That's how our show is spread and the news is heard. Join us next week on the show when we will be talking about 4 questions answered about glyphosate. Yes, the weed killer. We'll talk about what that is and what it does and the good and the bad, as well as myths about landfills, what you didn't know but you should know. And our guest will be, he is the founder of Ivy Organics. He's also a new author. Charles Malky will be with us, and we'll answer your garden questions. It's all next week. So until next week, for
Holly Baird.
I'm Joy Baird, and we will see you in the garden.